This is the Life by Design with Angela Weiss podcast, episode 40. The most toxic relationship ever was the one I had with myself. Hi, welcome back to the Life by Design. I'm Angela Weiss, nurse practitioner, mental health provider, author, believer, mother, fellow, imperfect human, and someone who believes deeply that healing is possible, growth is possible, and that we can intentionally build lives that feel more aligned, more peaceful, more authentic, and more fully ours. If you're new here, welcome. I'm really glad you came. Today's episode is about a relationship that I had with myself, and a lot of women really have. And we're just jumping in today because we spend a lot of time talking about toxic relationships, toxic workplaces, toxic friendships, toxic family dynamics, but we don't talk nearly enough about the relationships many of us live inside every single day. And that's the relationship we have with ourselves. The voice in our heads, the commentary running quietly in the background, the way we speak to ourselves after mistakes, the things we tell ourselves when confidence feels shaky, the language we normalize when we're scared, grieving, overwhelmed, exhausted, trying something new or feeling behind. And I want to weave together themes today from two of my books, Always Never, the most toxic relationship I ever had was with myself, and you wouldn't let someone talk to your daughter that way, because these two messages belong together. The first one asks, how are you speaking to yourself? And the second one asks, why are you allowing language toward yourself that you would fiercely protect someone you love from hearing? Because most of us would never allow someone to look at our daughter or our son or our best friend or someone we love deeply and say, you're not enough. You'll probably fail. Why do you think you can do this? Stay small. Don't even try. We would step in immediately. We would protect them and we would remind them who they are. And yet many of us say versions of those things to ourselves every single day, and we call it being realistic, being accountable, being humble, being motivated, but sometimes it's simply self-criticism that has become so familiar that we no longer recognize it. And here's what I want you to know today. Confidence is very difficult to build inside a hostile environment, a hostile internal environment. Think about that. Confidence is difficult to build inside a place that feels emotionally unsafe. And many women are trying to build confidence while carrying around an inner critic that never lets them rest. Now, I want to be clear about this. This episode is not about the positivity that's fake. This is not just love yourself or just think happy thoughts. Life is harder and more nuanced than that. This is about awareness, language, compassion, truth, and learning how to become a safer place to live inside. Because whether we realize it or not, the way we speak to ourselves shapes what we tolerate from others, what we pursue, what boundaries we set, what dreams we chase, what risks we take, what kind of life we allow ourselves to build. I see this all the time in my practice in mental health. Brilliant people, kind people, capable people, strong women, mothers, caregivers, healthcare workers, people carrying enormous responsibility who would extend incredible compassion to everyone around them while privately speaking to themselves with relentless criticism. And maybe you know that feeling, and maybe you're the person who encourages everybody else while quietly tearing yourself apart. Maybe you're incredibly patient with your children and your friends, your partner, but merciless with yourself. And maybe you've normalized language like, I should be further along, I'm failing, I'm too much, I'm probably going to mess this up. Who do I think I am? I'm behind. I should have figured this out by now. That matters because the person you hear mostly in your lifetime is you. So let's talk tools, not just inspiration, actual practical tools. Tool 1 is catch the critic. Pay attention to your internal language this week. Notice it, not with shame, but with curiosity. How do you speak to yourself when you make a mistake? You look in the mirror, you compare yourself, you're scared, you want something badly, you're about to try something new, and you may start noticing scripts that have been running for decades. And awareness matters because you can't change a voice you aren't noticing. Tool number 2 is the daughter test. And this one is powerful. When a harsh thought shows up, pause and ask yourself, would I let someone talk to my daughter that way? Would I say this to someone I deeply loved? Would I want my child carrying this voice through life? If the answer is no, pay attention. That's important information. Tool number 3, rewrite the script, not fake positivity, truthful compassion. Instead of I'm such a failure, try That didn't go how I hoped it would, but I'm learning instead of I'll never be able to do this. Try this feels hard and I'm still growing. Instead of I'm not enough, try I'm becoming. Small language shifts matter. They really do, because words shape environments and your inner world is your environment. Tool number 4 is to learn to cheer for yourself. Not everyone grew up deeply encouraged. Some people learned criticism before confidence, performance before worthiness, survival before self-trust. So part of trusting is becoming your own encourager. It's not fake hype or pretending fear doesn't exist. Just becoming someone who says, I know you're scared and I know this matters. Take the next step anyway. I'm with you. Keep going. Because confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's often doing the thing that you're scared of, showing up anyway. Taking the trip, trying again, beginning imperfectly, trusting yourself enough to take the next step before certainty arrives. And maybe part of building a beautiful life by design starts with the relationship you have with yourself, with your inner voice, with becoming someone who no longer allows language that's harsh towards yourself, that you would never allow towards someone you love. If the voice inside your head became the voice following your daughter or your niece or your best friend or your son through life, would you be comfortable with what they're hearing? If the answer is no, there's no shame in that. It's just awareness. Only awareness. And awareness is where change begins. So, I've said throughout this podcast, women, but this stands for men too. Men speak harshly to themselves as much as women do, okay? We have to begin the conversation, the dialogue inside our brain that says, we matter. We are important too. Our thoughts are important. The value we have is enough. It's as much or enough of what we need, just like it is for anyone else. I fed myself lies for so many years. For 47, I started feeding myself lies when I went to kindergarten and people started telling me things that I'd never heard before. Kindergarten. That's where my internal negative voice came from. And I continued that from 5, 6 years old until I was 47. I'll be 50 this year. At 47, I decided to be a little kinder to myself, because why didn't I deserve that? I remember my mom, my dad, my grandparents, they said such beautiful things to me as a little girl, and I believed them. But somehow, once I got into kindergarten, the cruel voices of the kids in the classroom that didn't stop my entire school years, why? Why did I suddenly think that those voices meant more than the ones who loved me because they didn't? So this series will go on for a few weeks. It's about building confidence, about talking better to yourself, about how I've learned how to do that with myself and how it's working. And if it's working for me, I know it can work for you too. Thank you. Thank you for showing up today for yourself, for your future self, so that we can build better habits together. Better habits together that help us learn to be better to ourselves, to treat ourselves better, to expect more and not less, and to become better humans. If this podcast resonated with you today, please like, follow, and share. That's how other people get to hear it too. I have Thursdays, mental health sessions as well. Sundays are faith-based podcasts. And then again on Tuesday. This podcast is for educational purposes only and does not create a provider relationship with me. If you're in a crisis, please call 911 or 988 in the United States. Thank you for joining me today. Have a wonderful day.